Hello and welcome once again to the video. This will be another one of my videos looking at the news headlines in the world of Formula One Grand Prix motor racing. And of course a very big headline this past week, a very big headline. Ferrari contract news. That's right, Charles Leclerc has extended his contract for an undisclosed number of years beyond the end of 2024. It's quite something. Lando Norris has also extended his contract for an undisclosed number of years with McLaren beyond the end of 2025. Don't know why he's committed so early like that. A little bit surprised, but there you go. Anyway, yeah, that big news about Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. Oh, and before I forget, yes, Lewis Hamilton is leaving Mercedes at the end of 2024 and going to Ferrari. My goodness gracious me. Now, I'm recording this on 2 days before you see this video. I'm recording this on Thursday evening. I had actually recorded a video on Tuesday, which was looking at the headlines, but the headlines were not spectacular. It was indeed simply Charles Leclerc extending his contract and Lando Norris. But I felt, in light of what had happened today, or 2 days ago, if you're watching this on Saturday, in light of these events with Hamilton, I felt I couldn't release that video, so I had to scrap that video because I couldn't release a video talking about Charles Leclerc at Ferrari and totally ignore Lewis Hamilton. So it is indeed the massive news. Lewis Hamilton. Now, this would have been very exciting when I heard the news, had it not been for the fact that I had released a video just 2 days earlier and was going to release it on the day that you might be watching this video, Saturday. So what day is Saturday? The Saturday the 3rd? Yeah, so it was all set to be released, but then I had to chuck it and suddenly record a new video. So it was sort of mixed feelings for me. But this is something I have been wanting for a number of years. Not just Lewis Hamilton, but any British driver in a Ferrari. It's been a long, long time since we last had a British driver in a Ferrari. And I often talk to people about this outside of my channel and within the channel as well, just how long it's been. When you consider there have been more British drivers in Formula One than any other nation, more British drivers have won races than any other nation, or won championships than any other nation, pole positions, fastest laps, points, every single statistic is dominated by British drivers. And yet, no British driver has won championships, yes, but not dominated. I'm actually going to do a little rundown in a moment of the drivers that have raced for Ferrari, British drivers. It's a short list. It gets a bit messy with Eddie Irvine because Eddie Irvine is not British, but he is from the United Kingdom. for anyone who is not from the United Kingdom. It needs some explanation, but England, Scotland and Wales are Great Britain. Those three countries are Great Britain. England, Scotland, Wales. France used to be owned by England centuries ago, but we won't go into that. England, France, Wales. God, I've done it again. France. Why did I say France again? I am into my history, so there's probably a part of me subconsciously that bemoans the fact that hundreds of years ago we lost France. But anyway, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland form the United Kingdom. So, for instance, on the statistics, drivers from the United Kingdom have won 308 races in the history of Formula One. Let's just write that down, shall we? Just over here. It's nothing to do with Ferrari though, but it's a good stat. I used to keep track of all the statistics, so this is no surprise to me. Wasn't aware of the exact figures, but I knew that UK was, would be in the 300s, and I knew that Germany was in the 100s, and Brazil is next up with 101. But that UK contains drivers from Northern Ireland. So Eddie Irvine and John Watson are the two that spring to mind. So that's not 308 wins by British drivers. Anyway, so this is actually the first. Lewis Hamilton will be the first driver from the United Kingdom to race for Ferrari since Eddie Irvine, 1996 to 1999. But he'll be the first British driver to race for Ferrari since, and I know that you know, my hero, Il Leone, Nigel Mansell, the Lion, as the Tifosi called him, in 1989 and 1990. I've done quite a few videos covering that period, and that's when I enjoyed Formula One the most, in the mid to late 80s. But yeah, I'm going back specifically to Lewis Hamilton. I'll do that list in a moment. But I'm not surprised. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed at Mercedes. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he wanted a change. I mean, he'll be 40 by the time he moves to Ferrari. Because he's just turned 39, so he'll be over 40 when he starts at Ferrari. In the twilight of his career, a couple of years left, probably, something like that. So why not do something a little bit different? He doesn't need to prove anything. I shouldn't think he thinks that Ferrari are going to be better than Mercedes. I think, going by the evidence at the moment, Mercedes and Ferrari, you can't tell which one's going to be better in 2024. They were pretty much joint for performance in 2023. Ferrari were definitely better, of course, in 2022, but made lots of mistakes. But 2023, they were pretty much level in performance, and they could well be this year, and they could well be in 2025. We just don't know. So I'd be very surprised if he's changed for that reason. I think it's more likely that he just wanted to try something different. And what driver doesn't want to race for Ferrari? It doesn't mean he's got a bit of a challenge. He's got to learn all those new. He's got to learn the language to a certain extent, on a basic level. Get to grips with the language to a certain extent, but also all the different engineers, the whole team. He's got to get to know them all. Plus the whole emotional side of Ferrari. It's a whole different way of running a team. If Mercedes are a bit robotic, then Ferrari are emotion driven. So it's a big change for him, but I totally understand it. Totally understand why he wants to do it. Similar, of course, to Schumacher. Schumacher wasn't towards the end of his career, though. When he jumped in 1996, he was closer to the beginning of his career than he was to the end. But Schumacher helped, along with Ross Brawn and, was it Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne, the two main guys that moved across from Benetton to Ferrari in 96 with Schumacher. So Schumacher was instrumental in turning Ferrari around. Of course, Ferrari don't necessarily need to be turned around this time round. I mean, they're a distance behind Red Bull, but so is everybody else. So it's not a question of turning around Ferrari as such. The addition of Lewis Hamilton might bridge that gap to Red Bull, who knows? If even there is a gap in 2025 to Red Bull. So that was a big thing. Schumacher's move in 96 into the 96 season. Of course, Ayrton Senna, when he left, I'm going to write these down here. So Schumacher, I've left my lid off the pen, look. So this camera's wobbling a little bit, I think, so sorry about that. So Schumacher in 96 with Ferrari. Of course, we had Senna moving to Williams. In 1994. And of course we had Hamilton in 2013 moving to Mercedes. And that was a big shock move. Now it paid off for him fantastically well. So is that part of his thinking as well? Is lightning going to strike twice in the same place? In the twilight of his career, he's not necessarily looking for a team that's going to take him to another 7 championships or something, I shouldn't think. Yes, he wants a competitive team, obviously, but I think this is mainly about him just wanting to race for Ferrari, wanting to be in that dream team, dressed in red, getting the adoration from the Tifosi, who I think have a lot of respect for him already, I think. It's strange, isn't it? The Tifosi seem to like Hamilton, and of course Brazilians seem to love Hamilton, and yet it was a Brazilian in a Ferrari that Hamilton beat by 1 point in 2008 to the championship. Strange that. So, of course, what's going to happen to Carlos Sainz? The obvious thing might be that he goes to Mercedes, but that might be a little bit too obvious. Toto Wolff wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Would it be Alex Albon? Maybe. I think it should be Sainz. I mean, Sainz should stay in Formula 1. He's good enough. He's good enough to be in the Ferrari. But when you've got Hamilton up for grabs, you're going to push everyone else aside. Maybe even Leclerc would have got pushed aside for Hamilton, despite Hamilton's age. But yes, Sainz has to stay in Formula 1, he really does. But let's just hope he doesn't just slip down the field now, like they sometimes do. When they leave a big team, they just disappear. And what has changed since July, when Hamilton and Toto Wolff signed their contract? And there were rumours back then about talks with Ferrari, and Hamilton poo-pooed them. Toto Wolff, I think, called it poppycock or something, and the usual comments about how people shouldn't believe the tittle-tattle that they read online and things like that, only for months later it to actually happen, what people were talking about. because this probably goes back to the summer. I should think there's been on and off chit chat since the summer. But then again, why would Lewis Hamilton therefore sign a 2-year deal with Mercedes, unless it isn't a straightforward 2-year deal, unless it's, you know, I don't know, a 1-year deal with the option of a 2nd year or something, you know. Or is he just going to pay a load of money to Mercedes to buy himself out of the contract? It makes contracts meaningless, because even if you have a big fine, most of these drivers have enough money that they can just pay that big fine comfortably. Certainly the successful ones. It's the successful ones that want to come out of a contract, basically. They're the ones that are in that position of power where they can just jump from one team to another. So they're going to have loads of money, so that the fine is meaningless, which means the contract is meaningless. So let me write the list of these drivers then, shall I? So what we had was, now I have heard of all these drivers, but I wasn't aware, with some of them I was not aware that they had ever raced for Ferrari. Ferrari. Peter Whitehead. Now, he just raced in one season in 1950, and I believe I think he got a 3rd place in a custom Ferrari. He was the first driver, apparently, to ever buy a Ferrari from Enzo Ferrari. And then he coloured it in British Racing Green, even though it was a Ferrari. And then we had Mike Hawthorne, of course, 1953 to 58, when he tragically died driving along a road, a simple A road, not far from where I live, actually, not many miles from where I live. After he had won the championship in 1958, he was just driving and got a little bit carried away. He's the world champion, went a bit too fast around a bend, and that was the end of Mike Hawthorne. But he won 3 races. So let me just put down here how many wins they had, shall we? Specifically in a Ferrari. Peter Whitehead didn't win any races at all. Mike Hawthorne won, I think, only 3 races in his career, and they were all in a Ferrari. The great Peter Collins, who nearly won the World Championship in 1956, I think, but he handed his car over to team leader Fangio so that Fangio could win the championship instead in the final race. 1956 to 1958. Peter Collins won 3 races in a Ferrari. I think he won 5 in total, maybe. Tony Brooks. Now, Tony Brooks died only just recently. A teammate of Sterling Moss, who also only just recently died. Tony Brooks died in May 2022 at the age of 90. And he was a Ferrari driver in 1959. And Tony Brooks won 2 races for Ferrari out of a total of 5 race wins, I think. I'm just trying to get the focus right. Now, next one. See, these are all a long time ago, these drivers. Cliff Allison, 1959 to 1960. He did not win any races, and he didn't do much, really. Skip past him. I'm aware of the name, but that's about all. He didn't really do much in either a Ferrari or any other car. John Surtees now. As I sort of mentioned, but not really fully, Mike Hawthorne won the championship in 58, so despite only winning 3 races in his career, all for Ferrari, only 3 races, I think he only won 3. Did he only win 3, or did he win 5? Not very many, anyway, but only 3 for Ferrari. But he was world champion, 1958, the first ever British world champion. John Surtees won the championship as well. And he was a Ferrari driver from 1963 to halfway through, or just a few races into the 1966 season. He had a bit of a falling out with Enzo Ferrari, so he left only 2 or 3 races into the 1966 season. But he won the championship. So I can put a big C next to Mike Hawthorne, a big C next to John Surtees. And he won 4 races in a Ferrari out of the 6 that he won in his career. Then we have Mike Parks. Now, considering that there are only 10 British drivers, 11 drivers from the United Kingdom, to have won races in a Ferrari, you can see, look, we're already down to number 7. And number 7 was 1966, so we're still in the 60s. So you can see we haven't had many for a long time. Mike Parks did not win any races in a Ferrari or not, didn't really do much of anything. Then we have Jonathan Williams. Now he took part in just one race in 1967, the Mexican Grand Prix, and came 8th. I had never heard of him. I've heard of all the other drivers, and I'd never heard of Jonathan Williams. Strangely. Mind you, he was only ever in one race, and he wasn't in the points. So I can forgive myself for that. Derek Bell, 1968. A few races, didn't really do anything. Lots of retirements in those. Did he do the whole season? I think he did the whole season. Lots of retirements. No race wins in a Ferrari or not. Then, see, we're still in the 60s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? So therefore, since 1968, there has only been one British driver to race in a Ferrari. And he's next. Nigel Mansell. My hero. 1989 to 90, and he won 3 races. See, they're not winning many, are they? 3, 3, 2, 4, 3. 3 races. It was so exciting when he joined Ferrari, and the team, the cars looked different going into the 1989 season. The Ferrari was fantastic looking. I've said it numerous times. My favourite cars in Formula One are all Ferraris from 3 successive years, 1989, 1990 and 1991. The 639, which became the 640, the 639, the Ferrari 639, which then became the 640 partway through 1989, and then the 641 in 1990, and then I think 1992 was the 643. Beautiful cars. Anyway, and I remember I was so excited. I was, how old would I have been? I would have not yet been 18. I would have still been 17 the first time I saw Mansell in a Ferrari. So I'm a bit older now, but I won't be as excited with Lewis Hamilton, but it's still something I'm very much so looking forward to, even though it's still a year away, more than a year away. So then we have UK. So I'm going to make a little bit of a thing here and put a little bit of a gap, and then I'll put Eddie Irvine. I had to include him because he is a UK driver, even though he's not technically British. 1996 to when he nearly won the championship. Schumacher broke his leg at the British Grand Prix in 1999. I was there and I saw the accident. And what corner was I at? I think I was at Stowe corner, and I think it happened at Club corner. And back then the layout was different, and you could see Club Corner from Stowe Corner. I'm pretty sure that's where I was. And anyway, I could see the ambulance come along and put protective, put barriers basically around the car. So I thought Schumacher's dead. But he wasn't. He just had, I think, 2 broken legs, I think it was. But yeah, I was there, I saw that. And after that, the Ferrari team, of course, were fully behind Eddie Irvine. Mika Salo came in to take Schumacher's spot. Mika Salo was the Finnish driver narrowly beaten by Mika Häkkinen in the 1989 Formula 3, British Formula 3 World Championship. British Formula 3 Championship. Anyway, Mika Salo came in and should be a race winner. I'm digressing a little bit, but later in the season in 99, Mika Salo was leading, I think, the Malaysian Grand Prix. And because Eddie Irvine had a chance to win the championship that year, Mika Salo was ordered to move over and let Eddie Irvine pass, otherwise Salo would not be able to race a Ferrari again. So he moved over, let Eddie Irvine pass. And there was 1 race left in the season, and after that race, Barrichello came in to be Schumacher's teammate for 2000. So we didn't see Salo again in a Ferrari. So ever since then, Salo must be kicking himself. That was his one chance to win a race in Formula 1. And he moved over to let Eddie Irvine through. He must have massive regrets about that. But anyway, Eddie Irvine won 4 races. I'm going to put in brackets UK, because of course he's from Northern Ireland. If he was from Southern Ireland, of course he would not have any connection at all to Britain or the United Kingdom or anything. So, I've been going for a long time, 27 minutes. So that's pretty much it. I'm very excited. I think this is great. I wanted this when all the rumours were around last summer. I wanted the rumours to be true. The only frustrating thing is, well, 2 frustrating things. One, I'd already recorded a video, so I've got to bin that video, a news video. And the other frustrating thing is that we have to wait a year, of course. All the talk is about Hamilton in a Ferrari, but we've got 24 races of Hamilton in a Mercedes. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait on that, aren't we? But very, very excited. If I could have picked one transfer that I would have wanted, it would have been that one. Second would have been Lando Norris in a Red Bull alongside Verstappen. But my number 1 would be Hamilton in a Ferrari. Then Norris moving to Red Bull would have been my second favourite move. What would have been my third favourite? It would have to involve a British driver because I'm so patriotic. I suppose it would be, I don't know. I don't have one. Maybe my third would be George Russell becoming Verstappen's teammate. If Lando Norris wasn't Verstappen's teammate in a Red Bull, I'd want Russell to be his teammate. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Very exciting news. It's a little bit irritating, though, the way they slam the news people, or the gossip online, talking about all this. And there's so often there's they say there's no smoke without fire, and that is so often the case, isn't it? These rumours come up, the drivers and the teams laugh at them and say how stupid everybody is for listening to them, and what idiots these people are for reporting this nonsense. And then a few months later, it's all true. That's a little bit irritating, because I'm sure this has been going on since the summer. But anyway, I'm just glad it's happening. So, yeah, once again, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I will see you on the very next video, hopefully. Whatever it is. Oh, if you'd like to tip my channel, you can do through the, is it called Super Thanks? Yeah, Super Thanks option, which I think there's a thanks button underneath the video. Or if you'd just like to subscribe, that would also be fantastic. And most of all, just keep watching, basically. Any comments will be great as well. I'd like to hear what everybody thinks about this move. It'll all be positive, I'm sure. So, thank you very much again, and goodbye till next time.